Tonight, Arizona's family investigates the impact of the air traffic controller shortage. It became a real issue late last year when we started seeing call-outs during the government shutdown.
Well, a new report is out. It shows the shortage is hitting smaller airports especially hard. Investigator Amy Cutler shows us there's no easy fix for all the towers affected.
The report found between February and May of 2025, there were 334 ATC 0 events nationwide, meaning a contract tower like the one behind me had to shut down because it simply did not have enough controllers. Those are the findings of an Inspector General's report that looked at how the FAA is overseeing towers that are staffed by contract air traffic controllers. There are more than 260 of them across the country. They're typically at smaller, less busy airports. There are 7 of them in Arizona alone, some of them in Phoenix's busy airspace. Over the last 10 years, while the number of flights have gone up, the number of FAA controllers has gone down, according to a government watchdog.
What's going on with the contract tower situation is the same that's going on right now with the FAA, but it's worse.
Tim Kiefer spent more than 20 years as an air traffic controller. He now teaches air traffic management at Embry-Riddle.
Those controllers are certified professional controllers. Are they FAA certified professional controllers? No, but they do have to go through a certification process, a training process, very, very similar to what FAA controllers have to go through.
Kiefer says working at a contract tower used to be a good way to get experience, a stepping stone to get into the FAA where pay and benefits are better.
If the FAA is having problems staffing, then obviously the contract towers are definitely going to have a problem staffing.
In response, the FAA says they have restructured the program and expanded training. But the audit found they're still short nearly 300 controllers of the more than 1,500 they need. We reached out to the FAA for comment. They referred us to their written response included in the report. In that, they say they plan to take action to address all 3 recommendations laid out in the report by January 31st of next year. In Glendale, Amy Cutler, Arizona's Family Investigates.